Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So, question today is, how do real estate commissions get split when you refer a deal to a realtor? Let me explain. There's so much to unpack just in that question. So, there are a lot of investors out there who are not licensed, and when they get a lead that wants to list, they will refer to a listing agent. So a couple things. First of all, I think it's very, very foolish for anybody who's in this business not to be licensed. And let me explain, and I've gone through this many times, but a lot of people haven't seen those videos. So number one, I believe everybody should be licensed. It's not expensive. It costs $99 for an online course and $8 for the test, so it's $100. It's not hard. Most realtors are, they weren't thinking about going into brain surgery or being a realtor. Most realtors are not incredibly smart, and they pass the test. It's not very time consuming. I would advise strongly against taking a live class, because I think that becomes time consuming and you have to figure that into your schedule. You can take an online class for $99. Live classes are more. They're probably $200 or more. And then you got to really figure out how to work that into your schedule. Online classes can go anytime. There's a book you can take out in the library called Cram for the Exam, where you can study for the test. Even if you got 0 out of the course, you can probably pass the test just from studying that book. So I think it's easy, it's not expensive, it should be done. The main 3 reasons why I recommend everybody's licensed is, number 1, so that you have access to the multiple listing service, the MLS. That is still by far the best way to comp out properties, to get values on properties. That's number 1. Now, sometimes people have my sister's a realtor, she'll give me her access, which is illegal, but sometimes that happens. If it doesn't, then you don't need that one. But I would recommend everybody has access to the MLS to get good values on properties, good valuations. Number 2 is because you can list your own deals, whether they're retail deals that you rehabbed and you're selling them to the public, or wholesale deals that you're listing to the public. You can list them yourself. You can be in control of that. Or even if it's a wholesale deal, you are absolutely 100% allowed to list a deal as a wholesale deal to find new buyers and find investors. You're just not allowed to represent that you own the property. You have to list the owner as a contract vendee. That means I'm in contract and I'm trying to sell it. Okay. And the third reason is that you can take listings. So some people think of that and go, well, I never want to do a listing. And I understand that thinking, right? I have a dispositions manager, and I have plenty of realtors in my brokerage firm who can do that for me. It doesn't take my time. But the way I view it is, in any given area, 90% of the properties are going to end up getting listed for sale with an agent. We're just trying to get a small piece of the 10% that will sell to an investor, that will go off market. And I think it's foolish to really believe that you're never going to come in contact with somebody who should list. So I have told hundreds, if not 1,000 people, listen, you can sell this to me, but you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. This house is in really good condition. You don't have any of the reasons why you might want to sell. You don't have a time issue. You don't have a municipal issue. You don't have a tenant issue. You don't have a condition issue. List it for sale, and I'll get you a lot more money. And some people say, no, I want to list it, and then they tell me the truth of why they don't want to list it. They want to sell it to me. That's fine. And some people list it, but it's foolish to think you're going to be able to qualify out anybody who wants full retail price. Now, there are people who do that, right? Maybe they have a lot more leads than me. Maybe it's my deficiency that I don't get enough leads. Theoretically, you can simply go over the phone with somebody. If they want full price, you could just not go on the appointment and tell them we're not a good fit. I understand that that's possible, but for me, I'll take the listings. Now, I am a broker. I have people working under me. Also, by the way, if you want to become listed, you can always park your license with me for free. I don't charge monthly fees or anything like that. You just have to pay your dues, your MLS dues, which is like, I think, $500-600 a year. You pay that straight to MLS. You don't pay it to me. And anybody can park their license if they want to talk to me. And any deals you bring in, you get 100% commission minus a small fee. So I believe everybody should be licensed. Now, the question I got is, how does the split work if you refer out a deal to an agent? So in general, most of the time, right, if you're not a licensed agent, or even if you are, and someone else is taking the whole deal, what I'm told is usually is 75% of the commission for them and 25% for you. Now, you've got to understand, it is not an easy thing to answer, because depending on which brokerage they work at Douglas Elliman, at a Keller Williams, Century 21, whatever it is, Fave Realty, whatever it is, they might have a split with their broker. So they may not be getting all of that. So you have got to figure out how much they have to pay, how much they don't have to pay. That varies. Like I said, if you work for me, if you're a realtor for me, you get 100%. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. But usually, I think it's 75 for the person that does the work, 25 if they for just giving it over. I think standard commissions, but it depends on a lot of things. It depends on how much the commission is going to be. Depends on what your deal is with your broker, how big the commission is, right? Is it going to be, is it a $40,000 commission? Is it a $4,000 commission? It really depends. So there is no standard answer. It's always negotiable. But from what I understand, it's now again. So here's what I believe. What I believe is that every single person doing what we do should be licensed. And if you get a deal and you are licensed, then you find some super eager young agent who's got no listings and split it with them 50-50, right? And you may work, right? Somebody who's hungry, who's got no listings, wants to get listed as the co-listing agent. It's good for their market share. It's good for everything. It's good for everybody, right? And you're handing it to them on a plate. I think you could possibly do a 50-50 split. But if you want somebody established, they may want 75%. And again, it depends on all the things, right? What percentage how many percentage points are being paid in commission? How big is the deal? Is it priced right and it's going to sell quickly, or is it something that's going to be languishing for a couple of months? How much work is it? How close it is to where they are? There's a lot of factors involved. But I personally think if you're licensed, you have a lot more options as to how to do it, as opposed to not being licensed, where I don't even think they're allowed to pay you. They have to pay you as a marketing fee or some way. Obviously, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not giving legal advice, and I certainly don't want to recommend that anybody do anything that they're not allowed to do. But and it's different in all places too. I think in some places referral fees are allowed, some places they're not. I don't really know. But it's better to be licensed, because then they can pay you 100% legally. And I think it's possible to get a 50-50 split. But there are people that may say, I don't want to give a 50-50 split, right? If I'm doing all the work and you're just handing it to me. But again, if you find somebody who doesn't have a lot of deals and who wants to break into the business, I would think a 50-50 split on the commission is very generous. But again, if they have to pay almost all of that 50% to their broker, they're maybe not going to want to do it. So it depends on their arrangement with their broker and how much they have to pay. So I would I would recommend splitting anything with people that work for me, because people that work for me can do whatever the hell they want with their commission. And if you need somebody, if you want to, you can certainly call me and let me know that you want to refer a deal to any of my realtors, and I will be happy to send you somebody great. I have a lot of great realtors that work for me. People that are eager, that are, absolutely willing. So my perspective is, when I was starting out, that I wanted to do the listings myself. I did my own listings myself. I showed them. And because I'm an Orthodox Jew, I couldn't do Saturday showings, which sucked, because Saturday's a huge day. So at some point I realized that I need to hire someone who can work Saturdays, because I'm not available on Saturdays. So I think it's really easy to take listings if you're licensed, and it's really easy to find people to work those listings if you don't want to. In the beginning, I think it will help if you do them, because you're going to get a lot of really good feedback sitting at an open house or talking to agents and finding out what they tell you. You need to take everything with a grain of salt, because everybody is giving you only their perspective. But it's very comforting to know that if everybody's telling you this similar or same thing, right? For example, you show a property and everybody says, you're priced $100,000 too high. You're probably priced $100,000 too high. Everybody says, all your offers come in $40,000 above asking, then you might price it too low, or maybe price it right. But feedback is very good, and when you're getting into the business, to figure out what valuations are and what's going on in the market, sitting at an open house, as painfully boring as that may sound, is pretty good, especially for a brand new listing, for you to figure out what's going on in that market. When I started, I really only did Elmont. It's the only city I did, and I knew Elmont really well. I'm actually going into Elmont right now, driving into Elmont, because I focused on Elmont. Then I expanded to second city of Valley Stream, and I knew those areas really like the back of my hand. Part of the reason I knew them was because my properties that I bought there, I sat there and did all the open houses and showed them every single time, and I made sure to follow up with every single person who came by and ask them what their thoughts are. And you got to be you got to be careful with that, right? Because if one person tells you, oh, this is terrible, sometimes you're going to think, this property is terrible. You can't base it on one. You need to give it time, a couple of weeks, 4 weeks maybe, to get an idea of what's going on. Because everybody's got their own, in Yiddish we call it mishigas, their own craziness, and it's based on their own experiences, right? If somebody If an agent, and I understand most agents really don't know what they're doing. So if an agent had a buyer who backed out of a deal because he didn't want to be in a flood zone, suddenly the agent thinks, oh, nobody wants anything in a flood zone. There's dozens of thousands of properties being sold in a flood zone all the time. So you got to be careful taking that feedback, but getting that feedback over and taking it as a whole is very, very helpful for you learning how an area works and how the market is. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are interested in finding out about coaching, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are interested, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help my SEO, my search engine optimization. A lot more people have been seeing my videos lately because there have been a lot more likes. That is just simply part of the Google and Facebook algorithm. If they get more thumbs up, then they show them to more people. I think that's how it works. I don't know. I don't pretend to really understand that stuff. But I know that more people have been seeing me, and I think a lot of it is due to more likes that I've been getting. So I appreciate it, and please keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. This came from a comment, so thank you, Chris. And keep the comments coming. It really helps me figure out what I'm going to talk about. If your comment does not have to be about the video you're watching. You can ask about anything, and if it's a simple response, I'll just reply with an answer. And if it's something I've covered before, I'll send you links to the videos. And if it's something new or something I haven't covered in depth, then I will do a new video on it for you. So thank you very, very much. I really, really appreciate you watching. Thank you.